Jonathan joining us late here, Hotline Editor-in-Chief Amy Walter. She's here at the table. She found her way to the Washington Bureau, and she's not exactly, her offices are very close to the other side of that river there, Politico.
It's nice.
You were writing today in the hotline about two factors that you were sort of surprised that haven't come up, that maybe there isn't a race factor,
right,
or there isn't a negative race factor for Obama. What did you mean by that?
Well, I think, you know, looking back, and we're all going to be doing, I think you coined it, the pre-bituaries of many of these campaigns for some time now. But, you know, the fact is that between the race speech that Obama had given and John McCain's decision early on in this race to tell the North Carolina Republican Party we're not putting Jeremiah Wright in ads, that's off limits, we took the issue of race sort of off the table. Now we're talking about the Bradley effect, certainly, but the fact that we haven't been talking about it incessantly throughout this campaign, I think, is quite significant.
And Amy, on Election Day, and we look at these returns coming in on the South, and it is no longer if it is no longer a solid Republican South, then isn't the story race benefited Barack Obama? Race is the reason why he won a state in the South, be it North Carolina, Virginia, Florida, Louisiana is popped into single digits, South Carolina's popped into single digits, Georgia. There's only one reason.
That we always assumed that the race was going to be a negative, right? That was the issue coming into this, that you say, well, race negative as in Bradley effect, as in turning off white voters. And I think you've pointed this out too. I think there are two issues. One is, yes, in a place like, let's not say Georgia or Mississippi, I still think those states are tough calls for Barack Obama, but certainly could be helpful to the Senate candidates. But in a place like North Carolina, certainly very important. But it's the Latino vote, too. That when all is said and done, and we've spent a lot of time talking about white working class voters, we've spent a lot of time talking about the African American vote, what we haven't spent a lot of time talking about is how dramatically Latinos are breaking against John McCain, breaking for Barack Obama in the states that could decide this election: Colorado, Virginia, another one of those, Nevada, and New Mexico.
Jonathan Martin, race. Did the did the McCain campaign not figure this out well enough? Did they not, you know, it's as if they were trying to play the card. They didn't want to get caught playing the card. At the same time, they thought they would benefit from it. And we don't know. Maybe on Election Day, we're going to see a movement, which is what these memos are counting on, it seems like, of race-sensitive voters toward their camps.
Chuck, I think the McCain folks spent so much time focusing on the Democratic primary and taking lessons from that contest. But it seems like that wasn't necessarily an entirely smart thing to do. I think that they picked their running mate based in large part on this primary, and talking about these demographic factors, it was based on the primary. Chuck, the thought was Jewish Americans, Latinos, African, or blue collar rather, wouldn't go for Obama based on the trends in the Democratic primary. A funny thing happened. Obama is cleaning up among Latinos. That's really hurt McCain out west, Chuck, as you wrote this week. And Jewish Americans, talk to folks in South Florida, Chuck, where you're from. He's doing a lot better among Hispanics now, Obama is, than folks ever thought he would there, and the Jewish Americans in South Florida as well. So it's just striking to me what has happened among these demographic groups who are supposed to be against Obama, and he's now making inroads, of course, in blue collars as well. And as you point out, the key demographic that he had during that Democratic primary, African Americans, seems to be paying off for him in a huge way. Look, if he pulls this thing off in Virginia and Indiana, Chuck, it's going to be in large part because of African Americans in those two states. Right.
Quickly, Amy, very quickly, the 3 months that John McCain sat there and watched the Democratic primary, should he have had blinders on? Is that going to be something that they watched the race too closely and let themselves get talked into things that they shouldn't have been doing?
Well, I mean, it certainly seemed like that at the beginning when he decided he was going to run the experience campaign, but do it better than Hillary Clinton did. But then I think the pick of Palin was an acknowledgement that they watched that campaign and understood how Obama did capture the change mantra, and that they were going to try to redefine it and take it back. Then, of course, the stock market crumbling. I think he probably should have spent those few months maybe thinking a little bit more about how he's going to answer the economic question than talking about when the race was going to be an issue.
Amy Walter, Jonathan Martin, hope we see a lot of you in the next 96 hours. 96 hours to go. Maybe it's like 93. I don't know. We should be counting down pretty soon. Exactly. Who's counting? Up
We're
next,
loving it, man.
analyzing the state of the race.